development happens. But if you're able to share, what are some of the things that you feel like you're putting on the line or you're risking in the leading that you're called to do? Can you name some of the things that you've risked in order to lead?
Reputation.
Your reputation, right. Because your reputation rises and falls on the success of the leading that you can do, right?
Financial risk.
Financial risk, right. Because you invest in where you lead. What else?
People don't share your ideas.
People,
You feel alone. People don't share your ideas.
people don't share your ideas. You feel alone. One of the people at our table said that in connection with that loneliness, that when you are out there as a leader, that it's suddenly hard to have those peer friendship relationships with the people that you lead or people in the community that you're leading.
It's very
right?
lonely at the top.
Pardon?
It's very lonely at the top.
Very lonely at the top, yeah. What are some other risks?
Your time.
Your time. Right, and that constant nagging voice, am I wasting my time or is this fruitful? And how come I don't see the results yet, right?
Along with that one, sort of burning yourself out, because when you keep giving or doing it all yourself, then you kind of almost just want to give up or stop because you've given too much or you want some of your own time back.
Yeah. Worrying about burning out, right? Good. We're going to watch a video for about 18 minutes. And this woman is a woman by the name of Maranatha Timothy. Maranatha Timothy works for an organization called International Justice Missions. And her role, one of her roles, in addition to doing a lot of public speaking and a lot of leading of this organization, her role is actually to go out and rescue people who are being oppressed. And so she literally, in her leadership role, she puts her life on the line. But she's got some interesting principles and some helpful principles for us to think about with regard to courage. This is a video that was shown this past year at the 2012 Global Leadership Summit from Willow Creek. And her name is Maranatha Timothy. You just give me a second while I cue that up, and we'll start listening to that.
And I can tell you that this work that she does is dangerous. Every time that she says goodbye to her husband and son and daughter and goes out on a rescue operation, she never really knows whether or not she's going to come back. And so our question today is this: what does it take to be a leader with that kind of strength and courage on the inside? And how do we become those kinds of people? This is the deeper question we want to think about today. And there really is no one, as we look at this mystery, that I'd rather have us learn from than my friend and my colleague and most humble hero, Maranatha Timothy.
My name is Maranatha Timothy. I work as the Director of Aftercare for International Justice Mission in Chennai, India. At IJM, my team works every day to rescue and restore children, women, and men who have suffered trauma as a result of slavery, to rebuild their dignity and to help them transform into leaders in their community. I know that the restoration of people is not easy. In my own life, 2 miracles have changed the course of my life. One day, towards the end of my master's in social work studies, while sitting in the chapel, I was crying and asking God, what should I do in my life? And the chapel speaker began to read Isaiah 42. I felt God clearly telling me, this is for you. Here is what he read. Here is my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen one in whom I delight. I will put my spirit on him, and he will bring justice to the nations. He will not shout or cry out or raise his voice in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break. and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out. In faithfulness he will bring forth justice. I, the Lord, have called you. In righteousness I will take hold of your hand. I will keep you and will make you to be a covenant for the people and a light for the Gentiles, to open eyes that are blind, to free captives from prison, and to release from death those who sit in darkness. What a beautiful vision. What a beautiful vision. I heard God's call to be a light to the nations, to be God's servant who will not grow faint or discouraged, but will establish justice on earth, for those who are blind, for those in captivity, for those in darkness. Just weeks later, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, which was critically placed in my brain and spine. It was choking my nerves. I had lost 60% of muscle strength in my shoulder, my face. Surgery stopped the tumor, which thankfully was benign. But I lost the ability to swallow, hearing in my right ear, and the worst was that I could no longer speak. I was mute. I went back to the promise in Isaiah 42, where my glorious future was written. But there it was in verse 2. He will not shout or cry out or raise his voice in the streets. In faithfulness he will bring forth justice. Though I could not cry aloud or lift my voice, I began working to set captives free. After 2 years, God gave me this voice, feeble and yet powerful in his hands. It's been 15 years since then. I'm more able now, almost normal in health. In my work in seeking justice, I travel to the most rugged, roadless parts of my country. Places where I not only contend with powerful and violent slave owners, but also with my own weakness and with the physical pain that has never left me. This pain constantly reminds me that I need God and that His grace is sufficient for me. I praise God that I'm alive and being restored each day. But God's restoration of my voice is not the greatest miracle I have seen. The greatest miracle is that God transformed my heart. Before He gave me this vision and the healing, He changed me. My parents are missionaries, and growing up, I had sworn to myself that I would never become a Christian. I hated Christ for separating me from my parents, for forcing me to grow up in boarding schools. In my hatred, my life became very dark. I grew defensive and rebellious. I closed myself to any feelings or emotions. I did things whatever they cost, without morality. I was self-destructive through my addictions. I was cold and hard-hearted. My paintings and thoughts were vulgar. My nickname in college was CC, cold and calculated. I was eventually expelled from college for my behavior.